So we reached the Absa Bank Regional Championship Contest 1. St. Louis SHS are winning by 50 points in that particular group. But you see Kumasi Girls SHS coming in last with 22. So, we have a girls' school winning and a girls' school coming in last. What did you think of that particular contest?
I think this year, after watching Wesley Girls High School and Polychild School, they happen to be the female schools who are very good when it comes to the NSMQ. And in this year's contest, I tipped St. Louis SHS to be the best female school because they have a calculator. For them to see a girls' school picking up physics questions and mathematics questions in a speed race doesn't happen often. And you see them, it's a super sub, they have a calculator, they have one brainy student doing some additions and all that. And I took them this year. They are very good and they are tactical because in this contest they happen to pick all the round one set of questions with 3 extra bonuses. And the accumulated points in round 1 is supposed to be 24, and they had 27 for round 1. That shows how good they are when it comes to fundamentals and basic concepts. And they did well in the speed race, going boot to boot with Adventist, who had the highest score in the region with 63 points, and beating them in this championship shows how good they are. So kudos to St. Louis. But coming to Kumasi Girls SHS, I think they did well, and they came in to just qualify to Accra. Their minds were really on the regional championship, just like any other school, because in the other regions they were all into qualifying, and see them in the championship a little bit sluggish, even though they did well in their qualifiers. And I'm expecting that next year the Absa Bank Regional Championship will be keenly contested because most of the schools will be prepared for the qualifiers and the championship as well. Thank you.
Right, so let's go to the Opoku contest. And in contest 2, we saw Opoku winning by 67 points, and that's a huge margin. Second place was 38-25-22. Going there. Rija, what can you tell me about that contest? Contest 2.
Contest 2, okay. It was a walkover for Opoku because before the contest, I was teasing Richmond that this contest is between Opoku and the quizmaster. They are just going to read the questions to them. And they did well. Me, honestly, I was expecting them to get something more than 70. But 67 is very impressive for Opoku. And they have Richmond who got to the final last year. And the set of coordinators, all students helping them. And there are a lot of hands. So they are well fed with information and they know a lot. So meeting Opoku in a regional championship, we need to be well armed. And Edijemfi, Tia Mas, Kumasi, and Jaso. Jaso were known here, but then Tia Mas and Edijemfi tried their best because you see their marks going high because of the true or false. When you get the opportunity to pick all your 8 questions, you have 16. But with the speed race, Richmond and Obute were faster than them. And their fundamentals weren't bad for the round 1. They did their best. Even if you beat Opoku, they almost beat them or they beat them in the round 1. And they picked their chemistry bonus. So that shows how these schools are coming up in recent times. And they did well. Kudos to Opoku too. They also did well as a senior school and a finalist from last year.
All right, so thanks, Rija. Lawrence, any thoughts on that second contest?
Yes, the second contest for the first day, which was between DJ Fiamas and then Joaso. I told my boys they knew the pressure that was on us for the qualification. And going into that contest, we had earlier on been beaten by UAS together with Prempe. So we were not going there to win. They were not psyched that much to go and win, not to go and stress themselves, because we finished the contest and the next day we were going for this championship. So even in the evening to that one, my boys, I asked them to relax. We didn't do any training and the rest. But we congratulate and then I admired how the WAS guys were doing. I hope by the time we get to Accra, these scores, whenever we meet them, we are going to win impressively. I don't think what they know by that time we wouldn't also know. Anyway, they did well. Then we can match them in Accra.
All right, so Lawrence, stay with you. Contest 3, Anglican SHS Kumasi with 28. If I could be on SHS 25, or say to SHS 23, to say SHS 22. And this looks like even in this contest, the last could have eventually come out on top had they played their cards right.
Yes, contest 3. You look at the schools, and based on the recent performance of CAS, that is Kumasi Anglican, you would expect they were going to win with a higher margin. But then, as at now, they have the same strength. They have the same strength. If you look at how these schools qualified, Efiokobi did very well. Osei had a challenging contest, and they were able to win. So, looking at where they came from to win, it means that all these schools did very well. But once Anglican was able to win with 28, I think they did better.
All right, so contest 4, Lawrence. Sims SHS winning 41 over Armed Forces SATS and St. Mary's Girls. Konongo coming in with 6, I think one of the lowest here in the championship. What do you think of the performance?
Yes, we should be looking forward for a very impressive performance from Sims in the National Championship, because as the year keeps going, I have seen that they are improving. They are improving, and Armed Forces, even though they were the seeded school, they had trials before the qualifiers, and they were not up to task that much. So with this performance, if they are coming to Accra as a seeded school and they don't want to lose their seed, then it means they have a lot to do. They have a lot to do. Sims SHS did very well, and I'm proud of them.
All right, so Sims SHS pulling some surprises in the championship. So on day 2 of the championship, Stephen, Prempeh College 80 points, and so far I think this is the highest we've seen. 80 points.
Yes, Prempeh College was very, very impressive. I don't know what else to use to describe their performance. Just like Opokuwari, who had a former contestant from 2020, a Form 2 student from 2020, now in the final year. Prempeh College also had a Form 2 contestant from last year coming into this contest now in his final year. Eden and his colleague were on top form in this particular contest. Again, they had a home crowd behind them. They were playing home, had all the support they needed. I remember in the very first round of the competition, they ended round 1 with 27 points, and that was very impressive. Round 1 is worth 24 points, yes. But they ended the round with 27 points, having picked other bonuses over there to add to their score. I remember in the speed race, they picked 10 out of the 12 questions. And it was a performance I've not seen in a while.
10 out of the 12 questions.
10 out of the 12 questions, yes. They picked 10 out of the 12 questions. Their performance was one that I haven't seen in a while.
Wow, yes. I mean, 80 points. It's magnificent. I mean,
and this was just at the first stage. So judging from what happened in this contest, you can tell that they are in not just to win just a regional championship, but they have their eyes set on the national championship for this year. Kumasi High, from Enatia Martin to Taman, they could not compete against the team from Prempeh College this year.
So contest 2, Kumasi Sectec, 41 points. Konongo Dumasi, Ago State College, Ejisuman SHS. It seems like they also weren't able to compete with Kumasi Sectec's preparation.
Yes, KSTS also has been seeded for some time.
Yes.
Been very impressive over the years. So when coming into this contest as a seeded school against Konongo Dumasi, Agogo State, and Ejisuman, you wouldn't expect that KSTS was going to back down for these schools to win the contest. And you see, they too have prepared very well. Their coordinators are able and they have put in a lot of work, trials all over the place, and to see how well they perform at the national stage, almost year on year being seeded, it shows that there is something they are doing very well over there that I think the other schools can emulate, so that they too can come up to that particular level.
All right, so we have another Kumasi school, Kumasi Academy, at 36 points in contest 3 over Dujanfi SHS's 30 points. I mean, Dujanfi SHS will be kicking themselves for letting this one go.
Yes, well, not just Dujanfi, but even St. Hubert, because St. Hubert to qualify with very high scores,
yes.
During the qualifiers. But again, you know, there's a bit of experience that comes with being seeded year on year. Kumasi Academy seems to have it. They have the experience in the competition. They came into this contest with their eyes set on making it past just the first stage of the championship. You see that the scores are low, but the contest was very keen. And Edugimfi again impressed us in this particular contest. They came in here because the other school that was supposed to be in this contest, SD Agona, was unable to take part. So Edugimfi SHS came in as a top runner-up, and they filled that slot to feature Kumasi Academy and St. Hubert. And they gave a good account of themselves. 30 points against a seeded school, certainly not bad at all. But I think kudos to Kumasi Academy for the hard work and the good performance that they displayed.
So kudos to Kumasi Academy. Let's go to the semi-finals. First contest and second contest. We have a Opokuwari School and we have Prempeh College. So Lawrence, coming here for me. Opokuwari School 53 points, and then contest 2 we had Prempeh College 42 points. What can you tell me about both contests?
Before the regional championship, we could all tell which two schools were going to be in the finals. It was definitely going to be Prempeh College and then Opokuwari School. These two schools in the Ashanti region, even though we are all training and then preparing to match them, for now, what I can say is that they are on top. Anything can happen within the contest. Once you get a very good path, that is a route. Once against Cass and Sims with St. Louis, it wasn't any match, so I was impressed with what they did and they won massively. It was good. It was good.
Right, so looking at Prempeh College, Kumasi Sectech, Kumasi Academy, Prempeh coming up with 42 points to win that particular encounter. What do you think of their performance in the contest?
With this particular contest, Prempeh should have done better than what they did. Because if you were able to amass 80 points, then it means you have some tactics in answering questions. Unless, of course, semi-final questions are a bit tedious than that of the prelims, as we could see. But Kumasi Sectech and Kumaka, that is Kumasi Academy, they gave up their best. Yes, I can see from the contest, round 1, they were all matching Prempeh. Just that Prempeh used the speed race to stretch them a little. And Prempeh went ahead, even though we are yet to talk about the finals. Prempeh went ahead to show that, in fact, they are mastery and they know how to win contests. Their boys are good. For now, their boys are good.
So the boys are good. Yuja, the two contests, the two semi-final contests, what are your thoughts? What do you think of them, the performances?
Yeah, Opokuwari School, as I said earlier on, they are very impressive. They are very good. Richmond is very good. Their team of teachers and everything, how they train and all that. But currently in Ghana, the best schools currently is Prempeh and Opokuwari. And I always tell a Yankee that this year the cup will be coming to Comerica because the boys are poised for action. And you see Opokuwari winning. Actually, I was supporting St. Louis because they've been impressive and I was expecting them to make it to the final. And Anglican as well. But then Anglican did well. And with Anglican, I think tactically, their boys didn't play according to tactics for their first contest. That's why they lost and they won by that slim margin. But coming to this contest, they really gave Opokuwari a very good match. But you know, a seeded school and a finalist, you can't just beat them on any other day unless something goes wrong. And for the Prempeh contest, Kumaka and KSTS gave Prempeh a run for their money during the round one. And as High Priest said, they straight them during the speed race. And in this year, Prempeh College has improved when it comes to the true or false. Because in any other year, you see them losing in Accra with true or false. If you've been following the contest for some time now. And any year that they have a very good strength in true or false, they end up winning the national championship. Talk of 2015 and 2017, we won that. And this year, Evans and Eden are doing the trick. So I'm expecting them and Opoku in the national finals, as they did in the Ashanti Regional Championship.
Oh, well, we hope to see them as well in the national finals. So, Stephen?
That would be an interesting fixture, you know, to have Opoku and Prempeh College face off at the finals of the national championship. If that happens, I mean, we'll be excited to see that, because both sides are very good. If you look at the performance of Opoku and Prempeh College in the semi-finals, both schools have experienced contestants. They all have a contestant each who appeared in 2020. So they have that experience. They are used to the big stage. Opoku school have the advantage. They are Form 2 students. What's at the grand finale? So he knows what it takes to be at the top. He's been there. He's seen it. He's done all that. Placing third at the national finals last year. And they have the speed when it comes to round 2, the speed race. The best from Opoku and Prempeh College all know what to do in that particular round. I remember even in the Opoku contest, they had this Form 1 student in the audience who, after any time they press the bell, they press the buzzer and answer the question, he will raise a placard that says "We press to kill," just to show how well they know how to use the bell. At another point, the bell will raise it, and at the back, "We press to kill" is translated to say "Bebukuno."
I mean, that's literal translation.
Exactly, and it was nice to see how they were taking the speed race very seriously, because it's a make or break round in the competition. If you're able to capture the speed race, then you very well will go on to win the particular contest. And those schools seem to have mastered that. So having won their respective contests, we needed one more school to join them at the finals. And that was going to be filled by the top runner-up. At this point, we had Anglican SHS and Kumasi Secondary Technical School with 32 points. And we had to break the tie. Eventually, at the end of the tiebreaker, it was Kumasi Secondary Technical School that got it. And they met Opoku and Prempeh College at the finals.
These were two different contests. How did you break the tie?
Well, so to break the tie, all we had to do was to put Anglican and Kumasi Secondary Technical on stage, and then using a question to break the tie. Just one question to break the tie, and that's what happened.
Right. So, Rija, you want to say something about the contest?
Yeah, that tiebreaker contest between KSTS and Kumasi Anglican. KSTS is good. They are very good with predicting the questions. And even they did that in the final, one physics PGS question. They pressed the bell and they had the answer right now. I was very surprised because the parameters weren't up to. And they did same with the speed race. And they are really on top for when it comes to these physics calculations and all that.
All right, so let's go to the final day. 8 days, final day, final contest. Prempeh College winning that's by 52 points. I mean, that was a convincing win. Opoku School coming in second place, 37, and Kumasi Secondary Technical School impressively amassing 33. I mean, they are not left too far behind, Stephen.
Well, yes, this final was exciting to see. You had rivals Prempeh College and Opoku in there. You also had KSTS, also very experienced when it comes to national science and math quiz. As we've mentioned, Prempeh College, they had the upper hand in that contest. They were playing home, so definitely they had that advantage. Again, they ended the first round with 27 points, which showed that they know how to relax, take their time, and answer their questions in round 1. And we keep telling the students before the start of every contest that in round 1, the questions go from school to school. when the questions come to you, there's no need to rush because you are not competing with any school for that particular question. That is what the boys from Prempeh College understood. They knew their job and that's what they did, even picking bonuses in that particular contest. So they ended the round 1 with 27 points. I think Opokuwari had about 17 points or so at the end of round 1. But Prempeh College only was able to add 3 points in round 2. They ended round 2 with about 30 points. I think Opokuwari then had 27. But what did the magic for Prempeh College was that in the third round, the true or false, they answered all their true or false statements correctly. Wow. And Opokuwari dropped a few times. But that was where Prempeh College widened the gap between them and Opokuwari in that particular contest. Went on in the riddles to pick some of the riddles, and then it was obvious that now it was too late for any school to win the contest. So in that contest, I would say that Prempeh had the upper hand. They showed that on any given day, from what we saw, perhaps on any given day, they will prove that they can beat Opokuwari. But I think that the home advantage also worked for them. Perhaps if we have a similar contest like this at the National Championship on neutral grounds, then that will be when we will see who really is well prepared among these two schools. We
hope you are able to be treated to such a sight in the National Championship. But Ruja, are you looking at the final 52, 37, 33? I mean, this looks very competitive.
Honestly, I wasn't surprised. I wasn't surprised at all.
But Ruja, you are part of Team Prempeh, so you won't be surprised.
No, but apart from me being a little Prempeh biased because I have a little affiliation to Prempeh, my kid brother schools there. Almost all my friends are Prempeh boys, and I've formed family with Prempeh. They are past contestants and all that. And in my time as a contestant, I was kicked out by Prempeh.
Yeah, so I would rather expect that you will not be so close to Prempeh considering what they did to you. But I remember on the day during the championship, anytime Prempeh College answered a question, Yurija would jump up and he would do something like that from his seat in the audience.
Yes, I'm trying to explain that thing we do. When a candidate picks 5 questions, that means like 5 points. They pick their questions and 2 bonuses. That means the question went round and they picked all. So you see all the Prempeh students doing this. Yes. Okay. That's the magic Eden and Evans does. But then there's something called know your opponents. The Prempeh College students knew the Opokuwari people, and they knew they were weak when it comes to round 4 and round 5. And in our contest is round 3 and 4. That's the true of us and the riddles. And they've met a couple of times before their last meeting. It was 3-2 against Opokuwari during their random trials. So there are a lot of arguments, and we were like, let's meet in the finals and settle the score. So in the finals, I knew Richmond was in for business, Eden was in for business. And when it happens like that, it's not between Prempeh College and OWAS again. It's between the two boys. And in that final, I knew Prempeh was going to beat them. And the magic number is now 15. Their last meeting, Prempeh beat them with 15 points. And in the final, Prempeh beat them with 15 points again. So I wasn't really surprised. But once again, KSTS and their speed reach physics questions. They are doing so well when it comes to some maths and speed race. They pick it faster than the known schools. And in the final, they did it again. And this year, I'm expecting KSTS to go far as semi-final and beyond. And I also said earlier that the trophy is coming to Comerica. So the Prempeh and Opokuwari, I'm tipping them for the national finals.
Well, so Ruja thinks the trophy will be going to Comerica. Lawrence, do you also have the same sentiments?
With the final contest, I think KSTS did very well for not being left far off Prempeh College and OWAS. But even before the contest, I realized something with the Prempeh team as well as the OWAS team. Those two boys who are the key contestants, you could see that even though the OWAS guy went to the finals, the Prempeh guy seemed to be experienced and relaxed when it comes to the contest itself. It ran through the contest, trial contest that they have been doing together. And in the final two, the same thing happened. Even in speedways, when you seem to be rushing for the max, you could see how relaxed the Prempeh guys will be, and still they'll get it correct. I applaud them for that. But with a trophy, before the qualifiers, I said Amas is winning. And because of what Prempeh and UAS did, people have written us off. I'm using this opportunity to remind you, we know what we have in our hands, and then people should be expecting us. As for getting seeded in Accra, that one day, it's a done deal. It's a done deal. We will get seeded, we will go to the finals, and we will bring the cup. So Uruja is not wrong from saying the cup will come to America. People should watch out for Amas.
All right, Lawrence and Uja, thank you for joining us on the NSM Review Show. Stephen, thank you for joining us as well and helping in the discussion.
Always a pleasure to be on the show.
So viewers, we are talking about the regional championships for the Ashanti region, and fortunately or unfortunately, we have come to the end of today's episode of the NSMQ Review Show. For the next episode, we will be talking about the regional qualifiers and the championships for the Eastern region. For more information and updates on the National Science and Maths Quiz, you should log on to all of our social media pages at NSMQ Ghana on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. My name is Ato Kwamena for Clearland. See you next time. Bye.